silent while the illumination happens. Thank you.
Could not make it to this function today as he was called by the Union Minister for Communications and IT, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. He was in New Delhi. He called me and extended his wishes and wished the function a grand success. Good evening. RV-VLSI was established in the year 2006. While ideating the vision and mission statements for this institution, it was clear that skilling India for VLSI sector was not only difficult but also very expensive. Let me take a minute to explain this. Firstly, it was difficult because in 2005 there was no support from industry experts to give up their high-paying job to be part of such an initiative. Senior VLSI positions in India were in plenty at that time. A lot of migration was happening back from NRIs and people from US to come back and make India as a base to establish and grow in India. I believed the core team of RV-VLSI must consist of accomplished individuals who have a passion and most importantly possess the skills to teach. A major challenge which we had to overcome, and thankfully we have done that. Secondly, it was very expensive to set up an institution such as ours because the only way to impart skills was to bring an industry inside the campus. Now when I mean industry inside the campus, I'm talking about high performance computing, I'm talking about access to multiple state-of-the-art EDA tools, I'm talking about access to multiple EDA fabs, to get access to the process technology, the process nodes, without which physical design full custom courses would just not have been possible. And most importantly, have access to industry experts who are accomplished in their respective fields. I'm very happy that we were able to attract people from the industry. Srinath is here with us from his rich TI background. Priya is here with tons of IBM background. I have Arun Patro with me with a lot of experience in verification. Like that, we have a lot of people who have this deep-rooted desire to make a change, to bring in a change, and to make people employed in the VLSI industry. Our second accomplishment is, while we do not market our programs on the basis of job guarantees, we are happy to say that we have achieved 100% placement for some of the batches this year. Students from PD and full custom have been placed 100% in companies like Intel and service companies like Wipro and SmartPay. This has happened for the first time after inception. So I achieved that. I consider that as a milestone. The third milestone, in my opinion, is 70% of the admissions which happen at RV-VLSI is through student referrals. Our alumni are our biggest strength, our biggest motivation, and our biggest encouragement for us to keep doing what we are doing. I'm sure most of you people joined RV-VLSI because a friend or a relative or a neighbor or your cousin or your brother took a course over here and got a job. We consider this as a milestone and we would like to get to 100% referrals very shortly.
CEO of Electronic Sector Skill Council. I work with the Ministry of Skill Development. We are in charge of looking at the industry-specific skills for the people to be trained. So after the training, they should be able to get into the industry and get utilized from day one into the respective skill sets. The methodology we follow is an outcome-based training where we have a completely different approach of building the curriculum starting with the industry. We do not teach the way
in management and an engineering bachelor.
We build all the curriculum.
Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here today as our guest of honor. On behalf of the students and the staff of RV-VLSI, I extend a very hearty welcome to you.
From curriculum
and I request Deepika to welcome him to the
whole product we generate and produce is generally for the industry, which is very specific. The biggest push for the government of India today is to look after the huge dropouts we are getting from the education system, from schools to college, college to postgraduates. We have a lot of youth in our country. India is a very young country. We are trying to look to make all youth of our country to be productive through job-oriented skill trainings. We have more programs towards people who are missing the formal education by chance or get dropped out to get into some form of skill training so they become a productive part of the country. This is our focus, and we are very seriously working with all things. And also our government has many other programs. We have an electronic system design manufacturing program where we planning to train 4 lakhs people for the electronic manufacturing industry, which is coming up into the country in coming 2-3 years with a lot of FDI coming. We need to support all the foreign investment which is coming into the country by producing manpower to their new factories. So we have plenty of programs, and we are formulating all that through various curriculum, and we continuously change the curriculum. We currently have 25 to 30 curriculum which are doing well, but there is a continuous change in electronics. It is not a static field. The demands are different every day. Today there is a demand for LEDs, solar, access control systems. Tomorrow there will be demand for something. But we see there is a great value in semiconductor design, because these are the people who are paid highest in the world. Anywhere you go, the semiconductor design and VLSI people are paid highest in the world. Many of our people are working, but they are indirectly working for MNC companies. So IPRs are going out of the country, but our people are creating those IPRs. They're unfortunately not becoming Indian IPRs. We hope going forward in life, our youth will take advantage of new government policies to get into building Indian IPR. I wish success to everybody in this work. So what do you think?
Hi, I'm Krishnamurthy, Managing Director of Rambus Chip Technologies and the Corporate Vice President. And I'm also the Vice Chairman of India Electronic Semiconductor Association. The advent of semiconductor industry in India started about 30 years back, 1984-85 time to be precise, and ever since that it has been growing at a steady pace. And the industry's biggest advantage that we see today is the very high level of value addition the Indian engineers and designers are able to
we feel that we have figured out how to put out courses and how to develop courses which lead to jobs, and most importantly transform an engineer into a young professional.
Technicians have proved that they are on par with anyone else in the industry anywhere else in the world. So this is a very exciting and successful growth of a particular segment this country has achieved. Close to about 50 to 55 billion dollars worth of design itself gets done out of India today. So remember, we are not preparing, we should not be looking at any finishing school, whether it's RV-VLSI or any other finishing school, for engineering graduates as a place where you will be assured of a job. If you start looking at it, probably you'll be disappointed. But if you are looking for any finishing school which is able to give you the kind of knowledge and the skill that you need to make a career out of that domain, whether it's a semiconductor or energy or whatever it is, I think preparing you towards a career and not a short-term job kind of perception, I think that should be what the student should understand, and hence the focus on this specialized skill development that need to happen, and that's what finishing schools provide.
What RV-VLSI he has conceived and the backing that he could get from Mr. Shetty to reach an institute like this of almost a world-class repute and bring it to this level. So Mr. Venki, thank you for doing this, and thank you for making us being a part of this, right? So there is a requirement of 120 if you have to be taken. I'm not aware of others what would happen, but if you guys study and work hard and make use of the facility that Venki and Mr. Shetty has built this up, I'm sure 120 would get a job. Many a times when such a finishing school is set up, the thought process which the students take is to, when they come here, they ask one question, would I get a job? Right? Would I get a job? Would you guarantee me a job? Does schools guarantee you an IIT admission? No, right? The schools guarantee you an RV-VLSI admission?
No, right? The amount of money
you guys study, you guys learn, you guys
very glad
and getting IITs and RVs. So why are you finishing
institute over here?
Why should you have to come and ask Mr. Venki that, would I be guaranteed a job?
All the locations of RV.
You are good enough, you will learn, you slog out for 6 to 8 months.
The most
you are good enough to do all the assignments, you do all the projects, you do everything that is required as part of the syllabus. And I am sure that 100 will, you would surely get a job. There is no need for you to forget that there are jobs available or not. I'm part of this in August panel. Talk to anyone. They are all willing to take you if you're the good. If you're not good, then it is tough. And I'm sure you're good because you've gone through the entire process of getting into RV-VLSI. One is referral, second there are all the methods that are set up to get you guys here. So make use of the 6-8 months. There are machines, there are licenses, there are Mente Graphics, good products. I'm sure the industry, other products as well. So make use of them. The products are production-worthy products. The licenses are not anything to do with education. It is purely the same set of licenses where Mr. Murthy's team in Rambuses uses. His team uses Pesta, the same set of license you guys have. There is nothing toned down, you get the full-blown version of license, so make use of it.
First of all, let me thank Director and the CEO of this, Venkatesh Prasad, for asking me to be here and learn a bit about the topics which all of us have heard for almost 2 hours. We are in a situation today, every subject we deal is interdependent. Those are the days have gone, specializing in one subject, never thought of the other subject. But today, if you look at any engineering curricula, you will see that most of the subjects are interdependent. The labs are interdependent. So that means the professors and then the others have to learn to become interdependent and learn all the other subjects other than the one which he has to handle on a regular basis. Some years ago, some 12 years ago, 20, I met Venkatesh Prasad in Chicago through a common friend. He said, there is a RV old boy would like to see you. I said, where? I said, I can't travel. My calendar is full. I'm available in Chicago on such and such a day. Then I got a call saying that Venkatesh Prasad will be too happy to come and see you on a particular day at a particular place in Chicago.
If everyone can look at, even if we do a small part of what you have done in our lives, I think we will bridge the gap in no time, sir. Well, good afternoon, my colleagues from the industry and students and the faculty of RV and the media here. One thing I would like to say from IEEE, as an institution, we are currently close to 130 years old. The only work what we do is to serve our community. When we serve our community, it is the students, faculty, education institutions, research centers, industry and society at large using technology. That's what we do. We have been looking at a few things. If you look at the electronic sector itself is one of the largest in terms of employment generation in the Asia region. If you look at it, it's a $2 trillion plus business, whereas the semiconductor business will be slightly more than $300 billion, which is also highly consolidated. We have already talked about it. But India has a unique place in the electronic ecosystem. If you look at every semiconductor company, wherever they are located, whether it is in the United States or in Asia, their first or second biggest development center is in India. I think we have already come a long way in this area. Thanks to the education system, we should be very proud of our education system. Only thing is, we somehow missed the last mile, in not only in this area, in all other areas in the society. So the effort of RV-VLSI to bridge that last mile, to make our engineers relevant to the industry, is already paying off. It is one example which addresses the Sector Skill Council's requirement. If we can do that multiple times, we will bridge that gap in electronic sector skill, what we are looking at India, and the opportunity which we have lost for several generations now. So we in IEEE, we have 45 different societies. There are 3 societies perhaps will fall into our area: Electron Device Society, Solid State Circuit Society, and a couple of others. But now everything is multidisciplinary, hence we cannot look at one society alone to solve a problem. We need to bring expertise from different communities to solve a problem in the society.
It feels quite strange to talk to people, especially coming from Qualcomm, where a meeting consists of either you yell at people or you get yelled back. So people rarely listen to what the other person says. It's a very strange thing. So it's a very strange feeling. So let me tell you about how I started my association with Inki. So basically, I passed out my engineering from BNMIT in 2007, and I was placed with Oracle, a software company. So there was an evening class where Mr. Venki had started, where they used to only teach Perl. So I said, I want to come and learn Perl. It's a software thing, and I want to improve my skill set on that. And I came here. When I started learning Perl, there was something that happened. Basically, my project that I did in my BE was in semiconductors. There were a lot of things that I did in semiconductors. So somehow the semiconductor always used to pull me back and say, hey, you are doing something not semiconductor, you are doing something that's not VLSI. Just go back and see where you can.
He says experience-based learning. It is not like you come in, you walk in, you just try out a bunch of tools, push your buttons, complete your modules, and complete your course. The focus over here was more on the fundamentals. If you see, the overall curriculum was planned in such a way that more emphasis was on the fundamentals. You understand the theory well, and then you go to the labs and practice those particular fundamentals. So you simulate it and cement your fundamentals. And trust me guys, industry is looking out for people who have extremely strong fundamentals. So this was the key takeaway from me, and the message from Venki was extremely clear. And being in the industry, I can truly understand what the requirements are. And RV-VLSI certainly did coach me in and grooming me to become a thorough professional. And this is what is the differentiating factor from the rest of the industry. And I congratulate Venki on setting up a new benchmark in the